the bomb. I see another guy named here too, Brian the Cannon Hannon. I love it. Well, you're all glad you're here. First, I want to thank Jesus Christ for all that the glorious opportunities I've been able to have over the years, and I really appreciate that. Many people come up here and say they're humbled and honored. In my case, I'm shocked and surprised. I want to congratulate all the other inductees, though. Very worthy class of inductees. I'm honored to be just a member. I want to thank Dr. Suzanne Sandergret and other members of the committee for their support of me. Hopefully their votes will not change before I accept this. But my friends are here tonight. I'm very happy. John and Heidi Canoodla are here. John's been a friend of mine for about 20 years, and when they define friend, he is truly a friend. He's a guy that I've played ball with for years. He's a great shortstop, pitcher, opposite field hitter, travel partner. We used to go to a lot of Lions games together, and just a really great friend. My daughters are here tonight too, and I want to thank Pamela and Holly. I treasure them more than anybody could imagine. They're always there for their dad, so I appreciate that. Also, my granddaughter Melody is here tonight, and Melody came up to the press box during one of the hockey games recently, and she says, "Grandpa, I'd like to go to your intoxication ceremony." I said, "No, it's an indoctrination ceremony." But I said, "Sure, Melody, I'll get you a ticket, and you can start paying back anytime you want." But last night, I'm on the phone with somebody, and I get a knock at my door. How often do you get knocks at your door, right? Nobody does that anymore. I was shocked when my sister and my nephew from San Francisco showed up unannounced. I did not expect them to be here. Melody and Ken are sitting over there at table 9. It was incredible, and we've had a good time since they arrived last night, but I never expected that. In fact, I haven't been that surprised since Stebler threw that long bomb to beat Lake Superior State. Do you remember that one? ESPN didn't forget it. But I have been blessed, though. I've met a lot of athletes throughout the years. I always like to do that. I don't get to do it enough. I really enjoy meeting the athletes, and it's good to develop friendships with guys now like Brian Hannon, Darcy Way, and a few others. But the parents have always been great. And the coaches here at Michigan Tech are phenomenal. They've always been cooperative. They've been really good, with the exception of one I can think of, but I don't think Luker's here tonight, is he? Oh, there he is. No, I'm just kidding, Kevin. In fact, if I had any talent, I would have loved to have played basketball for you. He just seems like the best guy. But I was kidding. Yay, Kevin! Yay, Kevin! Oh, boy. Well, before I wrap up my comments, I want to just share a little love story with you here. And as a lad, growing up in Lower Michigan, we had relatives in Copper Harbor. We'd make annual visits up here to feed the black flies. And my dad would always stop. Now, I'm old enough. You might not remember this when the campus was a little different complexion. 41 ran closer to the Union Building. There was a little store across the way called the Cracker Barrel. And my dad was clever enough after a 500-mile drive to stop there and pick up snacks for us on our way to Copper Harbor. And I used to look around and think, wow, is this ever cool on a campus of a university? So my dad, who was a very well-known metallurgist in the foundry industry, and he worked for Eaton Corporation. He developed foundries all over the world, really. But he had an employee that worked for him named Tom Mutton. And Tom was a graduate of Michigan Tech. That's where I first started getting my interest in the university. My dad's secretary, by the way, was Ron Mason's sister. So I had a hockey connection there, too, with the late Ron Mason. But I actually decided to go to Michigan Tech, and I only applied at Tech. I didn't apply anywhere else. Most of the kids in my class went to either Michigan State or Central Michigan University. That seemed to be where to go, but not me. I was the only one from my class to attend Michigan Tech. I applied, I was accepted, and I came to Tech on an AFS scholarship, an American Founderman Society scholarship. I thought I was going to be a metallurgist like my dad, until I had Doc Berry. Realized there was a little chemistry involved in that major, but anyway, during orientation, they used to have a cool thing. Sherman Gym is where the theater is now, the McArdle Theater, I think it's called. And they would have an assembly with all the freshmen, and the coaches were up there, and they had a big table. And when John McGinnis got up to talk, he said, "I'd like to make it known we need some student managers." I couldn't have got up there quick enough when he finished his speech, and told him I'd love to be a student manager. That's where I started doing it for a couple of years. And I know when I came up here for orientation, my dad and I visited the big hole, which is now the student ice arena. It was under construction. When I was the student manager in 1971, we were playing at D Stadium still. And then we transitioned in January, played our first series against Duluth at the student ice arena. And so that was really cool. And anyway, so eventually I matriculated at if there's anybody here from Northern Michigan University, you can look that up, matriculated. Just Google it. But anyway, while working with the Tech hockey team, and I love hockey, as you know, I got to meet guys like Gary Crosby, some legend. Back then, major junior A players could play college hockey. So we got some really talented players: Bob Delvise, Jim Nargang, Graham Wise, Mo Truan. I can go on and on. All these guys. One of them, though, a guy, he's here tonight, Bill Steele, was one of my favorites for a couple of reasons. We were about the same size. I could skate just like him. No, not really. No, but Bill and I both shot right-handed, and we used a Lie-7 stick. So, I'm playing intramural hockey, and these guys are all using these $6 Christian Tiger sticks from Weber's down the street here, right? Not me. Billy would give me his old sticks, and they were really just like new. I mean, they might have had a little crack in the blade or something. So I was the big hero on my intramural team because I'd come out there playing with some quality lumber, But, and I'll have to admit, I wasn't too bad. I scored lots of goals during warm-ups, and then the goalie came out. But anyway, back in those days, we were on quarters or terms at Tech. Now they're on semesters, right? But in those days, we'd go for 10 or 11 weeks, write finals, and move on to the next one. Some people say, well, didn't you actually do anything worthy of being in the Sports Hall of Fame? Actually, I was on the track team, okay? I did not letter. I was a 2-miler, and unfortunately at that time, John Hubbard and Ken Baller were runners here. They were really good runners. I wasn't. And so I didn't get to letter at Tech, but I went to every practice, never missed one. One day, it was a spring day. The track used to be a cinder track where they're building the new dorm over here by the Rosé Center. And the coach came over to me. He knew I was on the team just because he saw me there all the time, but he didn't know who I was. He said, "Hey, you, come here. I need somebody to run the 100-yard dash." And I'm like, the 100? I could, I was a distance runner. So anyway, I said, okay. I said, I've never used starting blocks before. He said, you don't have to. Just go from a start. This was Omer Lajeunesse, the coach. And so anyway, I got out there, and I ran, and believe it or not, I placed last. So later that spring, while writing final exams in Fisher Hall, it was calculus, and a lot of you know who Bob Stebler was, right? And he was a big basketball fan, but Bob was proctoring the exam. There was a knock on the door, and Bob says, "Mitch, you got to come out here." And my dad had died. And 18 years old, and I was ready to quit Tech. My mom said, "No, your dad wants you to go there." He was so proud. You were at Michigan Tech. So I stayed on. And that's the love story that I developed with Michigan Tech. I did love going to college a lot. I worked as an engineer down in Lower Michigan for a while. Dr. Mraz always talks about ROI, return on investment. And I found out that quality of life was a little more important to me. I took a major pay cut to come up and work in the Upper Peninsula in radio, but I love being up here. And I love skiing. Bob Grzeski and Dan Lorenzetti were real big proponents of Mount Ripley, and they were doing some studies, and that actually influenced my decision to come here too. So it's funny what students will choose to come. I wanted to see the Michigan Tech hockey team, I wanted to be a metallurgist, and I wanted to ski at Mount Ripley. So I got to do 2 out of 3. But anyway, that's all I've got to say to you tonight. I just want to thank everybody involved in getting this honor to me. I feel very honored. Thank you very much. You're welcome.